What's up, everyone? Welcome to a True Underground Story podcast. I'm your host, Timmy Burner. Today I'm with Samuri West. Well, I'm going to start off by saying thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, just tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I am from Springfield, Ohio, and I grew up in a very small town called Mechanicsburg-Urbana area outside of Springfield.
What was your childhood like out there in like the Springfield Mechanicsburg area?
You know, it's might not be the easiest question. I have so many great memories. I loved growing up in the country. I grew up in the country, a lot of cornfields, a lot of bean fields, a lot of hills and creeks, and I absolutely loved that. What I did not like is the small-minded people. You know what I'm saying? That come with a small town. And for that reason, I didn't really jive with a lot of people in my town. I didn't have a lot of friends. The friends that I do, I still talk to some people and cherish and love them, but not a lot of people I meshed with growing up in my small town. So, yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So, about how long now have you been making music?
You know, well, all my life, I've been making music all my life. I remember when I was a kid, that was the one thing that I said I always wanted to do. And I actually had this band when I was like 5, 6, 7. It was a band when I was 5, 6, 7, because it was just made up. And I got pots and pans from the kitchen, and I made a little drum set, and I had a little guitar, string, tissue box, and the band's name was Shaggy. And I wrote it on all my notebooks, and I wrote little songs and stuff. So, I've been doing it forever, really, but let's see, I started releasing music online. I think the first year was 2020. And, I started more recording my own stuff back in 2012.
How did you come about your stage name, Samuri West?
It's a mix of my name, Samuri. So I was, somebody just misheard me one time at a very loud nightclub. Somebody misheard me, thought that that's what I said. And I was like, that fits, and it's just interesting because it was definitely ordained, knowing later what the history of the samurai is. If you know the history of samurais and ninjas, which is a whole other topic, but if knowing the history of samurais, that's very true to me and who and how I am and how I live my life. So it just fit very well.
What was like some of the music that you grew up listening to, whether it was like stuff you had seeked out or stuff that your parents had you listening to? Because I know a lot of times with people, like when they're younger, their parents are choosing what they're hearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, my dad has great taste in music. And growing up, people might not know what I'm about to say, the album I'm about to say, but it's a kind of like Now, but it's called Singers and Songwriters. And it's an old a series of albums called Singers and Songwriters. And it had like 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And they had different volumes of them. But my dad had several Singers and Songwriters volumes in his car. And so they were just like the year's greatest hits from the 60s or, stuff like that. So I definitely listened to like that type of stuff. And, I grew up listening to like Jimi Hendrix, Nas, Pink Floyd, a lot of 90s like New York rap and psychedelic music, a lot of that type of stuff.
So what made you decide to like start like really pursuing music, like going to a studio and purchasing beats and writing a song and then actually releasing it to like streaming platforms and stuff? Because I know a lot of times back then, like a lot of people, the most they would ever do with their music is SoundCloud, but you've
Right.
started releasing music on Spotify, I believe, in 2016.
Was that in 2016?
I
Maybe
believe
it
so.
was
Yeah, I am,
SoundCloud or
and you know
something.
better.
Maybe, yeah. Well, you know, I have, and forgive me, I've sometimes it's hard for me to pull out
Oh, you're
memories
good.
like from my childhood, you know. But I've been doing it for so long that I don't remember like what was the first reason, as just other than that's what you're supposed to do. If you want to take this seriously, and I'm not just making music for fun, I truly wanted, as a child, as a little kid, I want to be a professional singer and songwriter. That's what I've always wanted to do. And so that's just what you do. You know, you're supposed to take the next step. What do we do next? Okay, well, my friend, we have a studio down here. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? I remember we was just doing a recording off of our cell phones and laptops on our HPs from GarageBand way back in the G. And then, you know, it was like, oh, somebody has a studio in their basement. You know, maybe that was like 2009 or 2010 or something, you know. And then I remember we knew a guy named Derek Snowden in Springfield who had opened up a professional recording studio with some of John Legend's family. Their last name isn't really Legend, it's Stevens from
Yeah.
Springfield. And so some of the Stevens clan out there in Springfield, and that was like our first, you know, professional studio. And that was like back in 2012 or something like that. But yeah, it was just the next steps, just the steps that you do to get better, you know?
Do you remember like what your close friends and what your family thought when you started telling them about how you were going to start pursuing music professionally?
This is something that I'll always remember because it was very sensitive to me. My father was always so supportive and, you know, said, baby girl, you just be the best at whatever you want to be. You know, if that's what you want to be, then do it, you know? And I remember my mom told me that that wasn't practical and that I wasn't smart enough to do that and just a bunch of negative stuff, you know. So I definitely that I can't really say that I had many friends that wasn't very encouraging because they wouldn't be my friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was a handful of friends that have always been just like, yes, you know, keep doing that. I want to see you be great. And so, you know, other than my mother, I've always, you know, my friends and my dad, they've always been very encouraging.
Speaking of friends, about when did you and Justina Clear link up?
Oh gosh. I love Justina so much. What year was that? I think I think I think that I first knew about her in 2019. I think. I might be wrong on that. But I remember there was a show put on by Only Noise by Chris Daly, and it was in August, and it was right before the mass shooting. It was right before the mass shooting a few years ago. I remember that now that I'm thinking about it. And it was like August 3rd or something. And it was an all-female lineup. And I was there. And it was at the Old Therapy Lounge. And I just remember seeing Justina, and she was just awesome. So I think I just wanted to be her friend after that. And we just got to know each other.
You guys seem like you're really close for a friendship that's only a few years old. So that's kind of surprising to me.
Yes. Well, anybody who genuinely gets to know me knows that I'm a genuine person. So if you're going to be my friend, we friends for life. So.
Is there like anyone in like Hollywood or internet famous that kind of has your eye, like a celebrity crush, so to speak?
Not really, because You know, there's a lot of people that I think, oh yeah, they're an attractive person or they're handsome. Like, you know, I think Michael B. Jordan is really handsome, but I can't say that I have a crush on them because I don't know them. And it
That's fair.
takes a lot more than just looks for me to have, you know, a crush on somebody. So I
No, you're
can't say
fine.
that
Yeah,
I
I
have.
understand that.
Yeah,
You need to read their energy and see their personality. I understand
right.
that. Who would you say is like an artist or artist that kind of influenced your sound and style?
A lot. Um, you know, I always say Nas. Nas is actually one of my biggest influences. Um, I like Solange. Solange over the years has really inspired and influenced me. Um, you know, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. I like Paramore. I love Paramore. Um, Green Day, old school Green Day, not the new stuff. You know, was a big thing when I was a kid. You know, Parliament Funkadelic. Parliament Funkadelic was huge for me getting into wanting to make music. You know, just hearing all the intricate sounds and funk music is just phenomenal to me. So, kind of like that.
Um, if money wasn't like an issue and you could work with any artist, who would Nas be an artist that you would try and want to link up with, or was there any other artist in mind?
I'd love to work with Nas, of course, because you know that's my childhood favorite. You know, I don't know if Nas would want to work with me. I'm sure there's probably lots of other people that he'd like to work with, but I would love it if he would. You know, I love Drake. You know, like I said, Solange, Erica, all the stuff that I had mentioned. There's so many artists that I really like and really appreciate that I couldn't even name off the top of my head. You know.
Being an artist, what would you say has probably been the hardest thing on you in your music career?
Hmm. That might be a hard question. I don't know if I know there was the hardest, but you know, in the back of your mind, there's always, am I going to make enough money doing this? You know? Um, but I think a lot of, I don't know if I feel this way anymore, but I know a thought that has been in my head before was, am I too deep? Is my writing, are they going to understand my writing? You know, some of the things that I've been through, you know, if I am more specific in my experience, are they going to relate to it? Maybe I should write this experience in more of a layman terms, or, you know, more of a broad experience so that it's more relatable to others. You know, that's something that I've thought of, knowing how unique some of my experiences have been, is will they even understand what I'm saying? You know, stuff like that, you know, maybe. I don't know that I really think about it as much anymore.
That's
You
probably
know,
good.
I just know that I'm getting older, Timothy. You know, I have to accomplish the dream. I have to accomplish the dream, you know? So you just do it.
Would you say you have an idea of what was been the most rewarding for you as an artist?
The most rewarding. You know what? The most rewarding, I think that sometimes, you know, the feedback can be rewarding. I really like this song, or, you know, you wrote this well, or, hey, I really enjoyed your show. I really enjoyed your set. You sound wonderful. You have a lovely voice. Those things can be reassuring to the craft, you know, they can be
Yeah.
reassuring to what you're doing. But I think the most rewarding for me is honestly to get it out. It's for myself. That's what's more rewarding, is is knowing that I'm not hoarding this emotion in. I'm letting it go, and I'm letting it be in the universe musically, and it's not on me anymore. And Jay-Z said something like that at one point, of like, sometimes he'll just write it out just to get it out of him,
Right.
And so I think that's the most rewarding, is being accomplished within myself and my goals, and going, I did that, I've accomplished this, and I feel good to get it out.
If you had to like describe your music to somebody that had never heard you, how would you kind of describe your music to them? Because you use a little bit of you have multiple songs that are a little bit different than the last one.
I do. So, like some of my influences, like I was saying, I like a lot of, Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Paramore, but I also like a lot of Underground Kings, Outkast, Nas, Drake, so there's varying genres there. And my music is just passionate. That's what it is. It's passionate. No matter if there is hip hop, R&B, rap, rock and roll, some easy listening, it's all still full of passion.
Recently, you did an event with CTG Media. What exactly is CTG Media?
Oh my gosh, that's one of my best friends. She's gonna kill me for not knowing the actual word.
Well, I don't need that. Just like, what exactly do they do?
Gosh, well, she's gonna kill me for this. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't upset her for not knowing. But okay, she just started this. Let me make it very clear. My friend just started the CTG Media, so that's the only reason why I'm not as much briefed on it. But it's my friend Poe. Her artist name is Poetic, and she has a magazine that I sponsor and I'm also in quite frequently, called Poetic University Magazine. Definitely look her up, anybody watching, Poetic University. So she was doing the Shamira Reed photography, and that was her thing. And she linked up with another set of entrepreneurs in Dayton, and they're kind of doing the CTG Media, and they're doing like certain events. And I know they've bought one of those really big Instagram glass photo takers and the spinning camera ordeal. So they do events, like, media events.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our first game here. I got called This or That. I'll present two artists to you.
Okay, I'm excited for this.
And you will tell me which one you're gonna play their music first.
Okay.
We'll start with G-Unit or Slaughterhouse.
G-Unit.
Cardi B or Nicki Minaj. You can choose a certain decade of Nicki, because that's been a common theme.
Yeah, I would say old Nicki Minaj.
Kevin Gates or Joyner Lucas.
I'm going to say I actually don't really listen to either one, but I think Joyner Lucas has a better voice. I'm going to go with him.
Do Nelly or Akon?
Nelly.
Bruno Mars or The Weeknd?
Old school Weeknd, not this new shit. The old school Weeknd. Yeah, I'll listen to some old school Weeknd. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you two controversial names here. We got Tory Lanez or Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
Erykah Badu or Lauryn Hill?
Oh, damn it! Why are you doing that to me? Why are you making me choose between my girls? I ain't gonna do that one. I actually don't know. I'd probably choose Erykah. Yeah, I'd probably choose.
That's actually a common thing, because a lot of people, just because she's got more music they can listen to, just since Lauryn only had really the two albums with her solo album and then the Fiji. Oh my God, Fiji's.
Yes.
Music Soul Child or Jill Scott?
Oh man, you really giving me the hard ones. I love both of those. Those are two of my favorites. Music Soul Child.
Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson?
You crazy right now because you were pairing people that I don't listen to and then the people that I really love. Michael Jackson or Stevie Wonder? I'm going to go with Stevie.
Stevie? Jay-Z or Nas?
Nas, definitely.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Keith Sweat or Luther Vandross?
I'm going to go with Luther. Luther.
Outkast or Wu-Tang?
Oh, well, I listen to more Outkast. I do love Wu-Tang, but I listen to Outkast more.
Eminem or The Game?
The Game.
D-Smoke or Cordae?
D-Smoke. I don't know Cordae too much.
He's younger. He's a lyricist.
Okay.
We got J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick.
Mobb Deep or UGK?
Oh, man. I like both of them. Probably UGK.
Lil Wayne or Drake?
Drake.
And we'll end with T.I. or Ludacris?
T.I.
Yeah. So, you were part of Streetlight Entertainment. How did that come about? How did you end up meeting with Streetlight Entertainment and signing with them as a management?
Well, I was blessed to meet Ronald Blake. Gosh, I don't know what year that was, but I met him as a networking connection for an album I was putting together called Dayton High School Sports. It was Dayton High School Sports album, and I was hired by a guy named Dion to do a lot of the behind the scenes putting together for this album. And through networking, I had met Ronald Blake, who was going to help with some CDs getting made and stuff like that. And so from then, I then had found out he knows Justina. And, I had already known Justina at that time. And so when I had found out that, oh, okay, you guys do business together. Oh, okay. And so then I had just observed and I was like, wait a minute, I would love to do business with you. And that's really how I approached him, is just said, hey, I'd like to do the same business that Justina's doing in that regard. I could use some help and I want to put the work in. And that's just how it started.
How many would you say you've gotten to do many live shows here lately? I know COVID kind of screwed everything up in 2020 for a lot of people, but I know about last year is when everyone started kicking back off with doing live shows.
Right. You know what? Thanks to Streetlight and Ron, I've been getting just plenty shows in that regard. Ron has gotten me, I think, almost all the shows I've had since last year when things started picking back up. So yeah, I've had quite a bit of live shows recently.
Do you plan on trying to get more visuals out for your music? Because I know you haven't released anything in a minute because you had an album recently that you had to pull off streaming.
Yes, I actually did not do that. I'm allowed to talk about this. It was the guy who I made the album with, and it was really wrong. And he just completely screwed us over. In short, we had an agreement for it to be exactly what it was the entire time. Long story short, when it all came down to it, they tried to finesse and just play us like we were dumb for a few months and get us to sign rights away to my name. And because I wouldn't sign rights away to my name, he yanked all the album. He yanked everything. And it's just ridiculous. So we all put about 2.5 years of work into that album just for a selfish person who wanted more than what they deserved. They wanted rights to my entire name, wasn't about to give it. And so he yanked the album. So
Damn. Do you have any plans on either trying to find a way to because you have the raw files of that still, to where you could get a producer to remake the beats just different enough that you'd be able to re-release it? Because I know you had
Well,
quite a few features on there too.
I did. I had all my features were paid, for by me and my team. And so the 50-50 deal was he had the music and I had all of the writings and all the vocals. So to answer your question, yes, I do plan on still doing something with my writings. And for any artist watching, piece of advice on that regard, you are your masters. You are your masters.
Yeah.
You are your masters. So I'm just going to re-record them because he won't give them to me. He won't give me my vocal recordings. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? That's fine. I can recreate them. So.
I mean, Taylor Swift pretty much did the same thing. That's what
Exactly.
They wouldn't give her the master, so she just re-recorded all the songs on different beats.
And that's what I'm going to have to do. So she had the right idea.
As an artist, what's more important to you, your monthly listeners on Spotify, or how many people are following your Spotify page?
What's making me more money?
That's fair. That is fair.
That's what I care about. I care about that money.
So obviously you said you're going to re-record that album. Have you started working on like any other, like, where are you at music-wise right now? Are you sitting on a lot of tracks that you haven't got to release yet on top of the album that you have to re-record?
I am honestly sitting on so much. Just so much. I know a lot's happened in the past year, and I know we're not going to touch upon that, but I'm trying to get back on a good train of momentum, so to say. So I have been doing a lot of work for other artists right now. I've been doing a lot of recording, mixing and mastering for other artists. And I have done a lot of writing. I'm working on actually a jazz cover album right now. So it's going to be a cover album that's all jazz. And so the album is actually completely different genres. All the songs are completely different, but I'm going to deliver it in a modern jazz. And so that's something I'm working on, and I'm working on a lot of things like before when I said I feel more, I'm the one who's most rewarded. I feel the most rewarded when I just get it out, So there's a lot that I just want to work on from the past that I just want to get it out,
So you said that you've been doing a lot of like mixing and mastering. Is that all part of the Samurai Sound? Because I know you have a separate Instagram page for Samurai Sound where you've pretty much started doing like producing and engineering and stuff on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I do all of my work for anybody else as a producer or engineer through Samurai Sound. Yeah.
What made you decide to want to start doing that and create Samurai Sound?
It started kind of a really long time ago, back when, like I said, I was working in Springfield with Derek Snowden out at, one of the first bigger professional studios that we had seen back in that day, 10, 12 years ago, whatever. And basically, because I was trying to do music when I was a teenager, and I was recording, and I was going to studios, and people kept trying to put me in this box. And I got compared to Pink a lot, in the terms of people kept saying, well, Pink wanted to do this and she wanted to do that, but she had to get her foot in the door first by doing the things that she didn't want to do, the genres that she didn't want to do. So people kept telling me, well, you need to be a pop artist. If you want to do jazz music and you want to be an R&B artist and you want to rap, you need to get your foot in the door first being a pop artist. And I was like, I don't want to be Taylor Swift. I don't want to sound like Katy Perry. I don't want to do stuff like that.
Right.
No shade. It ain't no shade. It ain't just me. It's just not my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? And so that is what initiated me to think, well, I just want to be a producer and engineer myself. I'll just go to school and learn it myself. Because if I have to pay you to do it and you're telling me to fit myself in a box, well, shit, let me just go be in your position then. And that's what I did. I took myself to college and I paid for my entire college tuition in cash. I worked for every single dollar and I paid for it in cash, and I got my degree, and I went to school and I learned what I needed to learn.
Something I'll add to that, by them saying like you need to be a pop star. I don't know if they realized, but like at the time that you were starting making music, being a pop star was like harder than being an R&B or a rap artist. Like pop controlled the radio back then.
Right.
Like every artist was a pop artist at that time. So we're gonna play our next game here. I had you give me artists. You sent me a lot of them, so I just picked 5 that I thought would be different than the last. So we're gonna start with Paramore. I'll give you a couple of their albums, and you'll tell me which one was your favorite to least favorite. I'll probably list about 5 for each.
Oh, man, I'm not good with names of anything, but I'm ready.
So we've got their album Riot, their album Brand New Eyes, All We Know Is Falling, and we'll do their self-titled album in 2013, Paramore.
Okay. Well, you picked some good ones because all of those are older.
I was trying to stick with the older ones because I know that's when Paramore was probably.
That's when they were good. Yeah. Riot is really good. Brand New Eyes is really good. All We Know Is Falling might be tied with Brand New Eyes. And I don't know off the top of my head the self-titled album from 2013. But I like Riot, Brand New Eyes, and All We Know Is Falling. Those are all great albums.
All right. I can't hate that. Riot was my introduction to them, and I liked the Riot album.
Yes.
I listened to everything, so. We'll move on to Amy Winehouse. Back to Black, Frank, The Other Side of Amy Winehouse, her B-sides, remixes, and rarities.
Yes. Okay, so Frank, it depends on what songs are all on B-sides, because I think I'm going to say Frank is number 1 because Frank has some of my favorite songs on it. B-sides probably number 2, and then Back to Black. I didn't favor Back to Black as much, but the B-sides and Frank are some really good albums.
Then we got Drake. I'll leave this up to you. Do you prefer his older music or his newer music more?
I prefer the older music, but Drake is actually an artist. Like for example, I loved Blink-182, I loved Green Day, loved Paramore, but not their new shit. I really don't. I love Coldplay, but their old stuff, their new stuff's terrible. But Drake is an artist that his new stuff it's not bad. Some people want to hate on that new album. I don't really mind it. It's not too bad.
It's an acquired taste. You have to like that style of music, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like Drake.
A normal rap head's not going to like that, but somebody who's into like house music and dance, definitely an album for them.
I definitely don't think Drake has fallen off. I don't think he's fallen off.
God, no.
No.
We'll do Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, Views, Certified Lover Boy, and Scorpion.
Well, you didn't say my favorite one.
Which is your favorite?
Comeback Season.
Comeback Season?
Yeah. Number 1, man, probably Nothing Was the Same. Probably after that, Take Care. And then, let's see, Views had a couple good ones on it. I don't know, let's just say views, and then everything else doesn't matter after that. You know, it's kind of the same. Yeah, I would say definitely Nothing Was the Same and Take Care are the best ones out of those.
I can't argue. So, we are going to Nas. We will do, where is that? Here we go. We got Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, I Am, and we'll do King's Disease 1 and King's Disease 2.
Okay. Well, Illmatic is number one. I like Illmatic. Illmatic's one of my favorite albums. Stillmatic is good as well. I like It Was Written. It Was Written is a really good one. Let's see, what other ones did you just say?
We got I Am, Stillmatic, and then the King's Disease 1 and 2.
King's Disease 1 and 2 next. And then I would say I Am last, just because I haven't heard the whole album. And now I want to go home and listen to it.
Then lastly, we've got Erykah Badu. We'll do Baduisms, Mama's Gun, Worldwide Underground, and New America.
Baduism, New America. No, not New America. Baduism. You said Mama's Gun. What other one did you say?
Worldwide Underground.
Okay, Baduism, Worldwide Underground, Mama's Gun, and then the last one you said.
The New America.
New America, yep.
So, what would you say is probably your idea of making it in the music industry?
Well, to put it very simply, for you to not have to do anything else financially to survive and live a sustainable surviving, lifestyle where you can put enough away that's going to earn interest enough to invest, and that the only income that is being brought in is music. That would be, in my head, making it. Not necessarily fame, because that's overrated, but if I could just make all the money to survive and sustain off doing music, that'd be a dream come true.
What would be some advice that you would give to a younger you or a younger person right now that wants to start pursuing music? What would be some advice you'd give?
Stay focused. Stay disciplined. When no one else is disciplining you, you have to stay disciplined. That's something that I wish my parents would have done more in the terms of my extracurricular. My parents definitely disciplined me, but they didn't discipline me in an extracurricular. They didn't make me sit down and practice piano. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't, you have piano lessons, so you need to practice piano. No, like I didn't get that. I wish I did. And so now I have to be my own form of that discipline. I got like athletic discipline. And of course punishment discipline, but I have to adapt my athletic discipline to my musical discipline. The athletic discipline is something that I'm more used to. So this is something that I would tell a child or somebody that wants to do this. If you don't have whatever type of support you don't have, you have to be that for yourself. You have to be that for yourself. You have to discipline yourself, and you have to stay focused, and don't let, whether it be a dude or a chick, don't let nobody distract you. Don't let love distract you, period. Don't let no boyfriend or girlfriend take you away from doing what you love and what you need to do. You do what you need to love and what you need to do first and what you love first, and then you have time for friends or a significant other or the things that you want to do. You do what you need to do first. And that's what I would tell somebody this young is you got to stay focused and you have to stay disciplined and don't be distracted.
When searching through your Instagram, you do a lot of photo shoots. What makes you want to do all these photo shoots? Do you just have a lot of photographer friends, or do you just really enjoy getting to do photo shoots?
That's kind of a funny question because I didn't necessarily want, it's not that I ever wanted to. I don't get it twisted. When I found modeling, I realized I was good at it and I love it. But modeling happened as a total accident. It happened as a total fluke, and people just ended up liking taking photos of me. And I never, thought I was pretty or whatever, but then was a friend who I grew up with. She had a sister-in-law that needed a model that fit a certain criteria, and I just so happened to fit that criteria. And this was a long time ago. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, if she needs a blonde hair, blue-eyed girl, I'll do it, And that's really what my attitude was. Like, I know her, and so, I know you and I like you, so yeah, I'll do it. So when I went to do the photo shoot, it was just like a family friend thing. And the photos turned out so nice. They were so nice. And then all these photographers started hitting me up and was like, can I do photo shoots of you? And and then I was a model. It was just really that quick. That's just kind of how it happened for me.
So kind of backtracking a little bit here. Earlier when we were talking about friends, I'd be neglectful to bring up that you're really close friends with CeCe Beckham, CeCe of Dreams.
Yes.
How did you two end up meeting and becoming close friends?
It was ordained by God. It was just through online. And I didn't know that I had as many connections to her as I did when I met her. But basically, I had been in a very, very abusive relationship. And getting out of that, this person had not allowed me to have any friends, and they didn't allow me to do my music. So when I was out of that abusive relationship, that was something that I was like, I'm going to go make friends and I'm going to go pursue my music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so within doing that, what I did was I lived in Dayton and I didn't know anybody, And so I just started, looking up musicians in town, and I just started friend requesting musicians and friend requesting producers. And I literally just started networking from complete scratch. Out of an abusive relationship, I didn't know anybody, and I just wanted to start blossoming in my career. So I remember I had probably been the one who sent a friend request to CeCe, knowing that I was sending friend requests to music artists. I think that it was me that sent her a friend request, but we ended up being friends randomly,
Right.
And she ended up posting a status about something traumatic in her life, and I had related to it, and we bonded over that. We had bonded over being there for each other in our trauma. And that's how we became friends. And then it was like, wow, you're a singer, I'm a singer too. And we were already best friends just from bonding over our experiences online. So, yeah.
Would you say CeCe of Dreams kind of got you into the Dayton art scene, or were you already like intermingling with the Dayton art scene? Because I know you're very big into the art scene in Dayton, Ohio.
No, I wouldn't say that she particularly got me into the art scene. CeCe has definitely introduced me to some people that I wouldn't have had the same relationship with if it wasn't for CeCe introducing me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I just networked. I just networked and networked and networked and networked. I just networked my little ass off. So it was really just all me just trying to connect with people.
You also, scrolling back through your Instagram, going way back, you didn't used to always have your dreads. How long have you been working on those?
Locks. I call them locks because there's nothing dreadful about them. Yes.
That's fair.
Yes. I have had my locks for about 10 years.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yes. Yes.
And then my last question before we kind of go over your discography here is, what is some change you would like to see in your community?
In my particular community, in my particular, you mean like civilian, like my municipal and Dayton type of community?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I am somebody that would probably be considered low income. And I grew up in a low income family. And majority of my friends just so happen to be people in the Black community. And so a lot of the things in our community affect anybody that's a minority, the Black community, the Hispanic community, anybody that's low income in general, you know? And I see that, and I see so many of my loved ones and people around me affected, you know? They took away the Kroger up the road, and, you know, it left this entire gap of land of people that have to travel further to even get their fresh produce. I think that's bullshit. You know, you go over here to the west side of town and there ain't nothing but potholes in the road. I think that's bullshit, because you know what, that's a ricochet. And now the people living in that community is going to have more car problems. And they're going to, you know, that's more out of pocket to the people living in those areas to fix their cars. That's bullshit. But we go over here to Oakwood, well, you know, who's gonna, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying. I definitely feel that.
The rich people, and they are, the majority of them are rich white people, or just rich conservatives, or just rich people in general. And they don't have no potholes over there. They have great grocery stores over there, you know. You know, sheltering the homeless. Gosh, I mean, and I know sometimes it's like, well, we have to tear down this building because there's asbestos and there's mold in the walls. And so we can't keep this building because, or we can't rehouse people in this building because it's safety. I understand that. You know, those things, it's like, okay, if you need to tear that building down because it's not suitable for people to live in, then okay, do that. But is there some other way that we can, you know, address this thing? And so that kind of leads me to the cracks in the system. I would love to see the cracks in the system, and this can be in any example that you want to talk about, in local government and to bigger scales of government. Any cracks in the system, I truly think those things are, the cracks need to be nourished. Those cracks in the system that people fall in, that those things really need to have more attention. And that goes to little scales of government to bigger scales of government. You know, we make a law and have a good intentions for it and not consider that it's negatively affecting disproportional amounts of people, you know? So yeah. I would love to see those types of things actually be talked about and addressed. And there's so many examples in that topic, you know?
I actually do have one more question just because I noticed it in the photo. You have one tattoo that intrigues me. It's your thigh tattoo. What does your thigh tattoo say?
That's like, a wonderful question. I'll try to remember it. But that's a good question. It says, be a light, not a judge. Be a model, not a critic. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. When you make a mistake, admit it, correct it, and learn from it. Don't argue other people's weaknesses. Don't argue for your own weakness. We are responsible for our own effectiveness, happiness, and circumstances. The issue is your own chosen response to a situation and what you should be doing. That's what it says.
Damn. Yeah, all off the top of your head. Look at you.
Yeah.
So we'll start here back in 2016. You released I Am and You Know Better. And then in 2020, you released the music video for I Am. What was the creative process behind those songs?
I Am and You Know Better was actually, I flew out to California to record those. I had a producer sent me a beat pack, you know, and I had liked them. I had liked two of the songs. I had liked two of them, and those were the two songs. And so I had wrote to them and went to Cali, and he only wanted me to record with him, and so I flew to Cali and recorded them with him. And those actual songs I wrote from a breakup. The You Know Better, excuse me, You Know Better was actually me telling my ex off. It was simple, but it's straight up in the words. And part of that song is actually in Spanish, and the same thing is the Spanish words is basically saying you were lying to your family, telling them lies about me, but look at you now, you're trying to crawl up my ass, you know. And it was just like, hey man, you know better than to act like that. So that was that song. And then I Am, I was just going, and you know, when I write, I just go with how I feel and whatever comes, first thing that comes to my head. And so like when I wrote You Know Better, I didn't go into, I'm going to write a song about my ex. It wasn't like that. It was,
right.
I just like this beat, and that's just what came out, you know? So with I Am, that was the same thing. It was just, the intro to I Am was exactly my first thoughts of, you know, I'm just smoking on this weed, I'm just doing this, and then I just went into it, and it was just more of a self-proclamation.
Swishers or backwoods for you?
Backwoods.
Have you ever tried the rose petal papers?
Rose petal papers?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy me some rose petal papers? Somebody buy them for me.
Hey,
I need to try them.
We'll have to hang out sometime. We got some.
Okay.
So then 2019, you released the song Hawaii 5-0.
Yes.
What was the inspiration behind that?
My friend Drew actually logged on here a little bit ago. I don't know if he's still watching. Hey, Drew, if you're still watching. It was Sabian, our friend Mickey, and actually it was just me and it was just Sabian and Mickey. And that was back in the day when I was telling you that we was just bullshitting. We was just recording in a garage on a little Dell laptop, you know. And I remember, you know, they had finally rented out this garage. So we had a half pipe and a little mini fridge and some couches. We was just chilling. And Mickey had a little ukulele, and he was just going ding da ding da ding da ding da ding da ding da ding, you know. And I remember, I think it was Alex was just like, hey man, let's record that. And so we just laid it down real quick, and then here I go. And I'm just like, walk on the boardwalk. And I literally, that whole entire thing is a freestyle. I didn't even write it. It's all a freestyle, random, in the garage, probably drunk and high on some weed. And we was just caking it.
So I listened to I had your music on shuffle for about an hour or so today so I could have a good perspective. One of the songs kind of threw me off because it does sound very different than all the others, and that's your song in 2019, Opportunity.
Yes.
Has a completely different sound. Is that a cover?
It is a cover.
Okay.
If you see it's a Joan Armatrading cover.
Okay.
So I put that up there, and I designed that. I designed basically all my cover art, but I didn't know how to like design that particular cover art with still giving homage to Joan Armatrading. So I just put her name up there, you know, and, you know, just put her name up there. But that is actually done by a guy named Michael Couture, is the guitarist in that track. And he is who I'm doing the jazz cover album with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember you bringing his name up earlier and we talked about this song a little bit. I
Yes.
just wanted to shed a little more light on that. Um, 2020, you released 4 songs. We'll start with Skyfall. What was the process behind Skyfall?
It's the same as the others in the regard of when I heard a beat and I heard a song that I loved and it loved me back. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this beat loves me back. I gotta have this. You know what I'm saying? It just flows, and I just write whatever feels like should be said. You know, everything just comes naturally. So the process first is just, I love this song. I want this song to be mine, and I already have the words because it just comes. That song is pretty deep for me, but it's a good one. It's a good one. And my friend Kevin, who I grew up with in Springfield, Kevin Darling, he produced that song, and I heard it. He sent it to me, and I just already wrote everything for it.
And then you also released Be Intentional. What was the process behind Be Intentional with Sewell Music Ltd?
Same. And that song is deep because both of those songs are actually about the same person. And so there's a lot of pain, a lot of abuse behind those songs. That song, Be Intentional, I was driving back from Cincinnati, visiting my daughter's father, who was a very evil and abusive person, because he's not even a man. He was a very evil and abusive person, and I remember driving back from Cincinnati in tears, and I was just coaching myself. The song Be Intentional is literally me coaching myself. And it's me going, what do you want, Sarah? What do you want? You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional or with your thoughts, or you are about to waste all of your time. You are going to waste all of your time if you don't focus on what you want. You have to remember what you want. Be intentional with your thoughts. And I just kept, just like coaching myself out of depression and trying to get out of an abusive situation.
Just before I go on to the next song, I was say I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So then you did the song Love featuring Cooler Than You.
Yes.
How did you guys end up linking up? Did you just reach out to him because you really liked his music and really wanted to work with him, or what's the story behind that?
Okay. That's a good one. I actually did not write that song at all. That's actually the only song that I have that I did not write at all. And I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Cooler Than You. Thank you to this day. How it happened was Cooler Than You works with a producer called G the producer. His name is Gary. G the producer. Yep. So I was actually networking with Gary. Excuse me. I was actually over there talking some business with G the producer about recording and some music. And when I was there, of course, they want to hear you sing. It's okay. Well, let's hear you. Let's hear you sing, And so they heard me. And that was basically that, because Cooler Than You had contacted me later and had said, hey, I wrote this song. I remember when you sang to us, we want you, like, you need to be the one to sing this. And so I had came by. I was like, all right. So I had came by and we just recorded it.
All right. Well, and then you released 4-7, the song that we played at the intro here, which is a little bit also just different than all the other songs, because not only are you singing on this track, at the end of the track, you do a little rapping at the end. Mm-hmm. What made you want to take that route of putting a verse of you rapping at the end?
Well, that's just me. And I know you would see a lot more of that already if the person who I made that album with didn't yank it, because that's just me. Like, as I said, Nas is a huge influence for me. UGK, you know, Underground Kings, Outkast, those are huge influences for me, you know. So, and I sing, so I sing and rap, and you are going to see a lot more of it. I'll put it that way. That's just me.
Love to hear that. So then you release I Got Mine with Justina Clear, which also has a visual people should go check out because it's got a funny skit at the beginning that's very early 2000s, late 90s with a fucking house phone. Don't know where you found that at. But.
Yes. It's very comical at the beginning too. It's like it's a hidden joke. I don't know. You have to really look to see the joke, but it's pretty funny.
So how did you and Justina come about making the I Got Mine?
You know what? I'm going to give credit to Justina for that. That was one of the songs on our album, on the album that was with Sewell, that was supposed to be released, that he yanked. That was one of the songs. And that was the only one that I was like caught up on. There was I wrote everything on the whole album, and that was the only song that I was like, I don't know. I just wasn't sure on what I had wrote. I had wrote it up, and I just was like, I don't know if I like these lyrics, you know? So I had thought, let's do a feature, you know? Let's do a feature. Let's call Justina and get her on it. So when I wanted to just hear what she heard without my influence, you know, like I had already wrote what I heard on the track, but I didn't want it. I wanted her to just give me whatever she felt and let's work with it. And so what's great about Justina and what's also wonderful about her and I's relationship is that we're like this. And even with our writing, because we syncopated our verses without even knowing it. We wrote and felt over the same topic without even realizing it. And so we just put our heads together and wrote it, and it was kind of like a little girl jam.
I will say, I know another song you guys have worked on together that's actually Justina's is the Smoking Good, Feeling Better.
Yes.
Probably my favorite song. That song makes me really wish you two could just like make a project together because the whole vibe on that song is amazing.
Yes.
Both of you killed it. Tell
her you need to do a project with Samurai. I've been trying to tell her. We're gonna do some more stuff in the future. We will.
Good. I love to hear that. Well, the floor is yours if you got anything you would like to plug.
Oh my gosh, I don't have anything to plug.
You're fine. You're fine.
I don't have anything to plug right now. I actually do have some new stuff coming, but I don't have any permissions to play it.
Dates. Yep.
Yes.
You're good.
Yes. But I'm so grateful that you had me on the interview, and thank you to everyone who has tuned in and stayed watching.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who watched. If you didn't catch this live and you're watching on YouTube when this goes up, all of Samurai's links will be in the description. Her Instagram page, her Facebook page, her producer page for Samurai Sound will also be linked, and her Spotify and Apple and YouTube. So Be sure to tap in with her. If you need a feature or someone with a great voice, reach out. Well, I appreciate you coming on and give me your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You as well.